How's it going, everybody? Welcome to General Hospital MV, my GH after show. Let's get into it. Shall we get right into the teen scene? Let's get right into the teen scene. Things are not looking great for Trina, and it is unbelievably frustrating. Nobody believes this girl is guilty, not even Jordan, the police commissioner herself, but unfortunately the evidence says otherwise. Somehow, despite not ever seeing Esme put on gloves even once, not even when planting the phone in Trina's bag, that phone only has Trina's fingerprints on it. The only thing that I can come up with is that the show pulled another Denise DiMuccio, and at some point Esme burned her own fingerprints off of her own hand. Y'all remember Denise DiMuccio, Ava's twin sister? Or like her long lost cousin or something really stupid from the Ron Carlivati era. Such a mess. The phone in question also had purchases made with Trina's credit card, which made her look even more guilty. It's so frustrating seeing so many people know it's Esme, but not a single one of them can prove it. Meanwhile, Trina is just trying to live her life as normal as possible, and she goes back to the work at the gallery where Ava fills her in on the fact that Spencer and Esme have moved back into Windermere, and it's putting a strain on her marriage. This has Trina feeling mad guilty about how fighting for her innocence is putting a strain on so many people she cares about's lives, but Ava insists that she keeps fighting the good fight. Ava also tells Trina the good news that Esme isn't pregnant, and that even though Esme and Spencer are moved into Windermere, the two of them are staying in separate bedrooms. The one thing that Trina can't get out of her head though is that Spencer believes that she is guilty and that Esme isn't, but thankfully this week we learned that that is not the case. Spencer shows up at the gallery looking for Ava and instead finds Trina, and their conversation gets a little bit heated. During that time, we learn a little bit of insight in what's going on in Spencer's head. He imagines telling Trina that he knows that she is innocent and that Esme is guilty, and that he only moved into Windermere with Esme so that he can keep her close and have her slip up and tell him the truth so that she can go to jail instead. And on top of that, he lets her know that he's falling in love with her. Like I said, it was in his imagination, but he definitely was thinking it, and he even goes to Cameron later and fills him in on his plan, but he also tells Cameron that he has to keep it a secret from Jocelyn so that this plan could actually work. Naturally, Cameron is less than thrilled about it, but he's gonna do it anyway. Meanwhile, Jocelyn convinces Trina to hang out in a public setting, aka Kelly's, so that they can be seen together and seen as a united front so that the world can see that Joss does not believe that Trina did this. The new cop, Rory, that has a bit of a crush on Trina, happens to be there, and Jocelyn notices him staring at them, and she confronts him, but then Trina clears the air by saying, oh, he was the policeman that gave me a pop at the PCPD, he's more of a friend than a foe. Rory tells Trina to keep up the good fight as well. Now, as for Esme, she actually opens up a little bit to Nicholas about her personal life and how she doesn't have her biological parents or her adoptive parents in her lives because they're all dead. Well, except for Ryan, of course. She says that the only person that she was close to was their nanny, Maggie. Later on, we even see Esme reading a letter from Maggie that says that nothing good would come of her going to Port Charles and being in close proximity to her biological father. So I guess that's confirmation that Ryan is actually her father. Gross. But I guess that's better than him being her daddy? Nasty. Anyway, this teen drama is causing a ripple effect to some of the adults in Port Charles, including, surprisingly, Sam and Dante. Carly actually asked Sam to try and get some information on the case from Dante, and Sam was obviously mad about that, and Carly was like, I'm sorry, I'll never do it again. And Sam didn't seem like she was gonna do it. However, when Sam and Dante were having dinner at the Metro Court and Dante had to step away to talk to Ava, Dante gets a file sent to his phone from the PCPD, and Sam snoops and forwards it to her email, and Dante catches her in the act, and things get hella awkward. Dante told Sam that he thought that they could trust each other, and Carly sees this confrontation and tries to step in, and Drew couldn't pull her away fast enough. Drew tells Carly that they need to handle their own relationship, and that Carly would probably just make it worse. Later on, Sam tells her former PI partner Spinelli about the situation, and Spinelli encourages her to try to see things from Dante's point of view and to work things out with him. I still think that they're doomed for when Lulu finally wakes up from her coma, but you know, for now, they'll be fine. Let's switch gears and talk about Elizabeth. Finn has a new plan to try and figure out who is sneaking into Elizabeth's house and seemingly trying to remind her of Franco, and that new plan is having Chase move into her house. And honestly, if I were Elizabeth, I would accept. The dude is fine. Chase also suggests that they put cameras up in the house so that they can catch whoever this is in the act. And honestly, I don't know why Finn and Elizabeth didn't think of that sooner. Side note, after several agonizing weeks wondering why not a a single soul has brought up Heather Weber, Chase finally talks about looking into other possibilities of who could do this, and he brings up Heather Weber, but unfortunately it turns out that she has been sitting in that institution the entire time. So I guess that means we can rule her out, even though we have seen Heather escape institutions multiple times over the years. The only reason why I'm rolling with it is because I think that the writers have no intention of making it Heather Weber. I actually do think we're going to see Elizabeth doing these acts herself on the camera. Now as for Elizabeth's son Aiden, he thinks that Franco might be actually haunting them, and he goes as far as asking Lucy for advice on the supernatural. Furthermore, he buys a Ouija board online. I don't know whose credit card he's using, maybe Laura's because he was hanging out with her, but I don't know. By the way, we also got some cool scenes of Laura and Lucy talking about their past with deception, how a few years back they were going to open a day spa with deception's name, and how in the early 2000s they used to be working together as partners in deception as well. Thinking about it though, I actually remember watching clips of that story on YouTube and seeing that Carly worked there as well. I believe Sarah Brown was playing her at the time too. Laura also lets Lucy know that she is aware that she is still dating Martin and that she's happy for them. Not that they're ever seen on screen because Martin is visiting his mother apparently. Seems like an awful long visit though. Austin made an appearance this week. It's been a while since we've seen him. I almost forgot about him actually. But he runs into Chase at Volanino's, the gym, and Chase is not thrilled to see him. Obviously, he's still mad that Austin used him, but Austin does apologize, and then Spinelli shows up and reams Dr. Austin out too. Maxie and Brooklyn show up at the gym too, and Maxie confronts Spinelli, and he says that he is not good enough for her. And Maxie's like, well, you don't think anyone's good enough for me. Maxie, the last time Spinelli warned you about a guy, you ignored him and you ended up dating a psychopath and a murderer. Not that I actually think that Austin is either one of those things. I mean, I know that I'm a diehard Spixie fan and I would rather them be together, but only if Maxie still had the same personality that she used to have. Personally, I don't see any chemistry with Austin or Maxie. That's just my opinion, of course. But if they're gonna put them together, then do it. I'm not that into Maxie as a character anymore. Unless they bring that fire back in her, then I'd want to see her with Spinelli. But if they're going to keep her like this, then they might as well keep her with Austin. And yes, before you guys ask, Brooklyn and Chase, they had their little moment too, but it's more apparent to me that we are going to be playing the waiting game to have this couple actually get together. I am willing to wait. I'm okay with waiting. I am in it for the long haul. I do want to see these guys together, and I'm okay with the slow burn. I've mentioned that before. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Let's talk about what happened at Charlie's this week. Sonny manages to convince Phyllis to buy it for him for super cheap. I'm talking $100 cheap. And honestly, I think that was Sonny's plan all along, to have Phyllis settle into Port Charles and enjoy working there, and then, convince her that she is doing him a favor by buying out Charlie's. Nina shows up and she's absolutely thrilled for Phyllis, of course. Sasha and Brando are at Charlie's too, and it's clear that Sasha is still struggling with the loss of Liam. Phyllis actually brings the baby up, and Sasha couldn't change the subject fast enough. Then we even see her getting paranoid that Brando might think that they married too quickly, and he reassures her that that is not the case. At the end of the night, when everyone is clearing out the bar, Sonny and Nina offer to stay and help lock up while Phyllis quickly runs an errand with Sonny's bodyguard in tow, of course. And before they can lock up, two masked gunmen show up and try to rob the place. Brando and Sasha happen to circle back to the bar to look for Sonny, and they notice the gunman through the window, and Brando steps in and goes into the bar, and he and Sonny and Nina take the gunman down together. This of course has Sasha reeling for Brando putting himself in danger, because she realizes that she could lose him in an instant just like she lost Liam, and she is not okay. That girl is gonna put herself back in the hospital, y'all, just you wait. Now as for Sonny, the next day Carly goes to Charlie's and asks Sonny what happened, and he thinks that a bunch of wannabes are trying to move in on his territory since there's only 2 mob families left. Naturally, Carly wants some reassurances that Avery and Donna would be protected. And Sonny says, yeah, they will be. Carly, of course, brings up Wiley too. Does he have Wiley's best interests at heart? Referring to Nina. Sonny says that even though he thinks that Wiley would benefit from having Nina in his life, he will back Michael up on whatever he wants to do. After Sonny leaves Charlie's, Phyllis is there and she talks to Carly and mentions that she had actually vouched for Nina's character to Harmony, and apologizes to her for knowing what happened to Sunny and Nina in Nixon Falls and not saying anything to her. Phyllis also mentions that she has a history with Harmony, and that has some wheels spinning in Carly's head. As you guys might recall, Carly had talked to Harmony the previous week, and Harmony mentioned that she felt like she owed Nina, but didn't say why. If you ask me, Harmony definitely had someone else to worry about way more than she had to worry about Carly. Neil's brother Brendan, of course. That dude is working overtime to ruffle Harmony's feathers by sticking close to Michael, Willow, and Nina while he's at the Metro Court. Nina, Michael, and Willow were discussing their upcoming day in court, and Brendan is kind of in the background watching and make sure he takes a picture with them in the background that he sends to Harmony to scare her. As you guys might recall, Harmony put up a good front when confronting Brendan last week, but this time she booked it back to the Metro Court and texted him that he had won. Later on, they meet back at the pier, and she begs him to stay away from her daughter, and he says he will if she pays up, and then she's like,
"Don't worry, you'll get what's coming to you."
The next day, Harmony starts to put her plan in motion. She puts a syringe full of drugs in her purse, but before she meets up with Brendan, she runs into Willow and Michael at the Metro Court, and Willow warns her about how the story with Nina could backfire if Nina decides to splash their name in the paper as well, and that their past, or rather her past, Harmony's past, could come up in that article. Willow reassures Harmony that she knows that she is a changed woman, and Harmony just hugs her tight and says, "No matter what happens, just know that everything I did was for you," and walks away. By the way, Nina did find out about the article because she was in the office with Alexis when Smoltz, the bad reporter, came in and brought it up. Alexis was actually asking Nina about her history with Harmony, and Nina was saying that she virtually has none because Alexis too is trying to figure out why Harmony would feel like she owed Nina something. And of course, Nina has no idea. The only way that Alexis is going to agree to put that story in the newspaper is if Smoltz tells both sides of the story, which means that Nina is clearly going to say some things about Michael and Willow as well. So yeah, it seems like the walls are going to close in on Harmony from every angle, and things get even worse when she meets up with Brendan. She offers him $1,000 as a down payment and says that she will pay him in installments, but that is not good enough for Brendan. He wants it all up front and suggests that she tell Michael the truth about the paternity of Willow because he thinks that Michael will want to keep that secret from Willow as well, knowing how much he hates Nina. Brendan gets a bit touchy with Harmony and he pushes her to the ground, and the purse falls and the syringe falls out, and he sees it, and then he asks her if she got Neil hooked on those drugs, and then he has an aha moment. He says, "You know, it never made sense to me or the rest of my family that Neil would ever get into drugs at all because he wasn't that kind of person. And knowing all the information he has on you, it makes sense that you would kill him to shut him up." He freaks out on her, Harmony freaks out on him, and instead of grabbing the syringe and dosing him with it, she pushes him off a cliff. I'm assuming he's dead. That, of course, was the cliffhanger that they left us on Friday, and I don't know about y'all, but watching that scene, I felt like I was tripping because there seemed to be like green screen at play, and it didn't make any sense as to why the green screen was there. Like in the further away shots, it really looked like an entire set, but in the close-ups of the actors, it looked like it was green screen in the background. I was so confused. I thought I was like overtired or something. I feel like I was tripping watching that. Did you guys notice? Let me know in the comments. And that, my friends, was GH in a nutshell this week. I hope you enjoyed my review and my thoughts about the show this week. I know that some of you guys are asking when I'm going to be live streaming on Wednesdays again. It won't be this Wednesday, but I will be back next Wednesday with a live stream. So not this one, the next one. Keep that in mind, okay guys? But anyway, I'll end this video here. If you like this video, give it a big old thumbs up, subscribe if you want to, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.